Senator, you just heard from Representative Jerry Coleman that he has changed his mind on an assault rifle ban. Would you do the same? Mills is urging voters to read the commission's report before casting a ballot. What are voters supposed to do if both of the candidates were involved in the events leading up to the tragedy?
I'm not a voter of Saginaw County.
And there was no problem with the last test?
There's no problems with we've had clean tests.
Today, a different answer. Why did you say that if that wasn't the case?
At the time, I hadn't read the reports.
The company says the proposal is confusing and complicated and could expose the town to litigation.
I think it's just a scare tactic, but unfortunately it's having an effect on a lot of these people in the park.
Is that what you're doing?
We're trying to educate people.
The body camera failed due to a software issue that was beyond the officers' control. They worked with the camera vendor and processes have been installed to ensure it doesn't happen again. How do you think the public should interpret something like that?
Well, look, there's several things to say about that.
Thousands of Mainers on WIC started using an app in 2022 to make certain purchases at places like farmers markets. But some say the change has come with a lot of problems.
Sometimes it's not working.
A concerned neighbor brought this issue to us, hoping that it could be cleared up. So I contacted the district's council member and brought him here to see it firsthand. There's a lot of traffic that comes through even late at night. And in this case, there was actually a deputy who was trying to respond to another call in the area. That deputy wasn't able to get through. They weren't even trying to respond to the takeover. We're told how long that Maine State Trooper is on leave really depends on his well-being. In response to our questions about the other troopers who are involved, the New Hampshire Attorney General's office says that those names will not be released until those troopers are formally interviewed as part of the investigation that is per state policy. I wanted to see if the state's platforms to help people get appointments worked. We found demand for the program quickly dropped to a crawl. And months later, we're still paying for it.
Logging in a Brunswick neighborhood is catching some neighbors off guard. Some brought their concerns to the I-Team, asking how this could happen and what it may lead to. CBS 13's Meyer is on your side now, getting some answers. The woods near Elisa Hughes Stricklett's home aren't the same anymore.
I know how important this entire trail system and everything is to so many people in this neighborhood.
Two adjacent properties along Woodside Road were sold to the same LLC earlier this year. Logging started sometime after that.
The way this particular project happened overnight with no warning is amazing.
Multiple neighbors tell us they're nervous about safety, loss of access to a land trust, disturbing a sensitive environment, and the potential impact to their properties when it rains.
I really am very worried about what's going to happen to all that water and mud and debris.
An official with the Maine Forest Service says the proper paperwork was filed. No permit is required to harvest wood in the state, and they found no violations of forestry laws or rules during a recent visit. Is what's happening there legal?
I believe it is legal.
We made repeated attempts to contact the property owner.
The number you have dialed has been disconnected.
But we're unsuccessful.
He has indicated that yes, there will be a subdivision application at some point.
Many worry this is a step to get around a normal development planning process. That would still have to happen though, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Councillor Stephen Walker says nothing has been submitted yet. Residents like Barbara Snap think other developers might try to take this approach.
There are other pockets in Brunswick that are wooded like this.
There will be a town meeting about this tomorrow afternoon.
A Freiburg family is warning other consumers after they say a lithium-ion battery suddenly sparked a fire inside their home. Now, these things are everywhere, from your phone to smartwatches, laptops to cars. CBS 13's Meyer is on your side with the signs to watch out for.
It was just black everywhere. I couldn't tell where it was coming from.
Tabby Dunphy was going inside her Freiburg home when she smelled something burning.
And I opened the door and I immediately could obviously tell what was going on. It was kind of just billowing in the house.
She rushed to save her dogs.
All I copied was that the fire is in the walls.
The cause, according to the fire chief, a battery-powered leaf blower being stored upstairs. Leading up to this, you hadn't been using it and it wasn't being charged?
No.
The Dunphys say it was the battery from this Ryobi 40-volt leaf blower trimmer combo kit they bought at Home Depot in 2021.
My batteries, I've always taken very good care of them because I know that they're, they can be intense, but I never thought they would self-ignite and cause this kind of damage.
Ryobi sent us a statement saying an investigation to determine if any of its branded product was present and or involved in the incident remains ongoing. It goes on to say, quote, "We stand behind the superior quality, outstanding performance, safety, productivity, and compelling innovation that defines every Ryobi product." This issue is not limited to just one brand or manufacturer, and there are many reasons why a battery like this can fail.
When they fail, they can generate toxic gas, flammable gas, and heat, a lot of ingredients for a fire or an explosion.
Brian O'Connor with the National Fire Protection Association says there's a tiny thin piece of plastic inside, critical to making these batteries work. They're designed not to become compromised.
But it does happen if it's overheated, if it's charged too quickly, discharged too quickly. There can be manufacturing errors that occur that can cause it to short circuit. Physical damage, water damage.
If there's an odd smell, the battery's bulging or creating too much heat, put it in a safe location away from your home. Call the fire department or take it to a proper recycling center. The NFPA says to only buy batteries listed and labeled by a nationally recognized testing lab. Only use the supplied charging equipment and stop charging when it's full.
Her entire world now is before the fire and after the fire.
It's been nearly 4 months of staying in a rental, and remediation work is now underway.
My hope in all of this is so nobody else has to go through this.
Now, it is tough to know just how big of a problem this is. It might not always be reported, and some databases count fires that make the news, which is not always the case.
Meanwhile, there are efforts to get rid of firefighting foam with tons of forever chemicals.
Just last week, there was an accidental release, as we said, at the Brunswick Executive Airport. Tens of thousands of gallons of water mixed with AFFF spilled out of that hangar into the sewer, the stormwater systems, and they showed up in area waterways.
CBS 13's Meyer is live at the Portland Jetport and has been looking into where else that foam is being stored, Mal.
Well, Marissa, the Portland Fire Department here at the Jetport does have AFFF on hand should they respond to something like a fire involving jet fuel. Now, even before that incident in Brunswick, they had been considering other options that wouldn't be as harmful if they have to use it.
We'll be kind of leading the way.
Most of the AFFF the Portland Fire Department has on hand is at the Jetport, like in this tank, ready to go.
We have about 1,200 gallons that we have as spare if we had to use it on the airfield so we can resupply the trucks.
It is very effective at smothering out flames.
One of the most important things is knocking that fire down as soon as possible.
But AFFF has PFAS, also known as forever chemicals, that are linked to health issues. That's why the department is turning over to something new soon called F3 that won't have PFAS.
Over the last 8-10 months, the Department of Defense has approved a couple different products.
The lack of options and cost has been part of the problem.
There are certainly challenges for the industry and nationwide moving forward.
The South Portland Fire Department was quoted roughly $140,000 to replace the 3,000 gallons of AFFF it has, not including the price of disposal.
It's nice that we'll be on the forefront with our transition in October.
It's tough to say how much of AFFF is around Maine. A state task force in 2019 tried to figure that out but got limited responses. The group estimated there could be up to 48,000 gallons in Maine fire departments alone.
There has been discussion about whether or not to do a collection and destruction program. Some other states have been doing that over the last several years.
In Brunswick, the Navy had been planning to remove AFFF in mid-September as leaders looked for something more environmentally friendly.
We're trying not to bring back the firefighting foam. We're looking for alternatives.
These alternatives will still be just as good for putting out these fires.
Yep, they're just as good.